Hi there, Felipe. Once again here, your crazy creative designer. Welcome to the channel. I'm very glad you're here. I look forward to imparting, hopefully, some wisdom here. So if you find the video helpful, hit the like button and hit the subscribe. It means the world to me. I talk about business, being a better entrepreneur, better designer, and better professional. So here we go. So today I wanted to talk about something that seems so simple, but may take up a lot of time, and it's a little workflow that I built in order to facilitate the process for new clients. So especially the onboarding. So in order to facilitate the onboarding for the clients and spare some time and save some time on my end via a couple of automatizations, automatizations. Jesus. Yeah, and there are people who do this hardcore, like with many more flows and automatizations and depth than I do. But what I do is sufficient in my case, and it makes my life definitely a little easier. Fantastic. So I'm going to share my screen. There you go. Okay, here we go. So first step is, let's say you close a client, okay, and then you guys are gonna get started on a project, or actually right before you close the client. So if we've spoken on calls or in person, via video calls, via telephone calls, whatever, if all details are ironed out and we find an agreement, let's say we're gonna do this website for 10,000 euros, it's gonna include this and this and this and this, then we are at the point where we can actually write it down or put it in paper, put it in writing, the entire idea, the entire agreement. So when I do this, the first thing I do is generally to create a little statement of work. But before I send the final contract, I will also send, I usually send like a previous or a preliminary statement of work, because you have to understand, writing out a proper statement of work inside my contract, which is very thorough, I'm going to show it to you, can take a lot of time. So before the client is 100% committed and I've gotten my down payments, I prefer to do things a little preliminarily until we're 100% sure this is going ahead. So I'm going to show you one example. I have a potential new client from last week. So we spoke on the phone and we spoke on 2 calls, and he wants a web design for his, I can't say it, but for his business, let's say. And what you can see right here, this is the proposals I've created to variants, which I created directly on Milanote, and this is just by typing up. So there's no worries with formatting, with too many pages, with names or payment details or anything of the sort. Just literally the raw outline of the content of the statement of work, of the list of work that is going to be included in this project. That's it. And I also give an estimate, a very rough estimate, and I also tell them how long it's going to take. So these 2 are actually small projects, so this is more than enough to send to the client until they commit. Okay. By the way, I use Milanote, this platform, for project management because it is fantastic. I have another video talking about it. You can check it out. I think it's under productivity tools, something along those lines. Anyhow, and then I can share the link with the client right here. That's a view link, and then they can check out the whiteboard and see the offers. But this takes me maximum of, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, once everything is clear, obviously, to just write it down, put it in writing, put it in paper, and send it over to the clients. Okay, that will be the last step before we get into the more serious stuff. So if the client agrees, as we would expect at this point, but things happen, things have happened in the past. If they agree, then this is the time to send them the full proposal, the full contract, to start to begin the project. Right. So at this point in time, we're gonna create the full statement of work, and we're gonna join it together into the proper contract that I always send over. I never do projects without contract unless it's a long-term relationship, long-term client of mine. So let me show you how it looks like. So this is my official project proposal. Okay, it's very thorough, but it also contains, additional information that could be interesting for the client. So as you can see, I have a cover, and then we have a little bit about me, my focus, what I like to do. In here, for example, this where I get a little bit more into the details of what I do, my vision, my mission, etc. So it's just an overview of how I work, of myself, just a little touch of personality, a little touch of Felipe, just to make it more interesting, but the client can skip this if they want. And then we get to, here we go, then we get to the statement of work, as you can see here. Okay, this is actually a very short statement of work. I'm gonna show you another one, which is much more understandable, I believe. Yeah, but this is the complete statement of work with some notes from my side, for example, that the client, they have to give us all the necessary content in a timely fashion. Otherwise, we can't guarantee the results. Then we have a raw timeline. Then we have the estimate in terms of time. Let me find a contract that is a little more fleshed out, so you can just see how complex it can get. Maybe Vivaris, yeah, let's check Vivaris, for example. Here you go. Okay, so here you go. As you can see, just this alone, these are all the work, or this is all the work. So the statement of work right here, 2 pages, actually 3 pages, because we divided this into SEO and keywords research, so SEO text, copywriting. But yeah, this is like the full list, basically. And I can go even deeper. This is actually for one of my best clients, and I only did a contract with him, but just so we can be aware of the work list itself and that we don't forget anything, but he didn't even have to sign it. So of course it's a good friend as well. So no issues there, but for some clients, first 2-3 projects, always insist on a contract. All right, so fantastic. So we have the statement of work. Then again, as you can see, the timeline, and then you have the estimate, you have the price estimate, including the work concerning the individual spheres of work, design, dev, 7K netto, which is like without taxes. But yeah, it turned out to be like 10K actually at the end of the day, but this was preliminary. And then here, this is where it's also very interesting to know and to add. This is the terms of service, right? So the TOS and the little contracts, so concerning copyrights, who has the rights, the creative rights, the assets, showcasing what happens in terms of delays and problems and general terms and etc., payment terms, etc. So it's very straightforward actually. It's not like a huge contract, but it is necessary in my opinion, as I said, in depending on the project. And then you can continue here. This is something I added relatively recently. That's just the information on how we can continue the project after this part is done. So I want long-term partnerships and relationships, and this is why I also created a section explaining what we can do afterwards, like such as updates and server updates and server changes and little modifications here and there. It's just a suggestion. All right. Then we have the comms, and we have the bank accounts, and that's basically it. Well, as you can see, very thorough, very important to be thorough, and yeah, always insist on the contract. Next step, let's say they agreed, they signed the contract, they send it over to you. Then the next step would be to generate an invoice and to start the onboarding process. So the first thing I generally do, or actually I generally do both at the same time, because like client onboarding doesn't take me much time these days because of what I'm going to show you. In invoicing, like the work, in my opinion, the real work only begins when the down payment is cleared. Except of course for long-term clients. But long-term, but yeah, but I can generally send them the onboarding at the same time, just so they can get started. Some clients need so much time to take care of that, which is really horrible. But anyways, so let's say number one will be the invoice, and maybe you're gonna be surprised right now because I actually use Figma for invoices. There are much better software solutions out there for that, but the thing is, when I started out, I looked into Figma. That was like 4 years ago, and I started to understand how it works, and I just wanted an invoice that looked a little less boring than the templates out there. So I designed crazy invoice templates, my own templates on Figma, and I just stuck to it, and then I cleared it up with my accountant, and it said it's fine. I just have to add the proper information, such as name and invoice address and etc. etc. So you can see generate the invoice here. If I want a new invoice, actually it's categorized, as you can see here, per client or per company. Okay, and I still have like old clients or in the background ones which are currently not relevant, but I keep them all. I have to keep them all. And when I need a new invoice, I'll just find the client here, and then I'll just copy paste the invoice, and just copy paste it, make the modifications necessary, download, and send it over. I usually send it over per WhatsApp. It's just very natural for me. But as I said, there were better ways to do this, I believe, to be even more automated. Okay, let's say I sent the invoice and I want to send in the onboarding at the same time. So this is where a questionnaire or more information becomes particularly relevant, because you need all the relevant input from the client before you start the work in order to guarantee quality and clients involvement. Okay, so and for that I developed a questionnaire, okay, which is quite thorough, I believe. So what I do is this is my let me show you, reload. So this is my onboarding page. It's a link. I just send them the link, and here we can go through, and there are things like project name and the concept, and type of project, and then how you can add staff on different platforms. I generally only do Shopify and Webflow, so others are on a need to do basis, and then description, scope of work. I also have a little couple of labels to explain what they mean in German and in English as well. So client can write expectations and target group, etc., etc. So as you can see, lots of information concerning the brand. Also references like 5 websites you love or 5 websites you hate. In this case, we also have logo design, but that's more optional. That's actually for my colleague Lisa, who works with me on these projects on the logo design. And so I created a little area just for the logo design. That's not relevant for me, but yeah, as you can see, we combine both into one, and then they add their email, their name, and then they can also upload files, okay, images or anything that they find relevant to the project, and then they can click on send. All right, fantastic. So what happens afterwards? So the form has been sent, and from there, I created a little zap on Zapier with a webhook to Webflow. The questionnaire is on Webflow on my studio side. Okay, so I created a little zap that takes that information, that form information, and translates it into a Google Drive document, into a Google Doc. Okay, for some reasons, there you go. So form submission, and upon form submission, create document from the text. Okay, so as you can see, you have the mapping, etc. So when that happens, and if I go to my Google Drive, I'm gonna get the file. I'm gonna get it in a file right here. Actually, I think I have to download this. Let me just do this for a second. And I just created a test before the video, and so here we go. We will get all the information from the form. We would get that here, and then from here, what I do is I copy, and then I paste it on a brand new whiteboard, which is my central project management hub. Okay, so let's say new client, voila, and then I can copy. Actually, let me do something else first. I also have a template for shop design right here. So this is the whiteboard template. Okay, which so what I do is I copy this. Okay, so I take my shop design main, I copy it, and then I can add the client name. So client new, and then if I go inside it, there you go. We're gonna have these different structures to upload files and to structure the general project. So we have a little wireframing, basically, of the entire process right here. And so the client can also write whatever they want here. All right. And then I go here to the sheet, right? And then I copy. Oh, it's already here. So I copy it and then I paste it right here. And yeah, sure, there's a little formatting issues, but I know. And that's it. And from there, we start the project, working always on Milanote together, because for me, it's the best platform. It's very visual. That's exactly what I like. And it also helps me a lot. So, yeah, there you go. I think that's it. I think, or the gist of it. All right. So that's the basics. And then, of course, we have different specifications or requirements according to different projects. That's normal. But yeah, I think that's my general process, and it takes me very little to do these things because I already have a lot of practice. So it's muscle memory. I'd say for everything 15-20 minutes max, and then we're good to go. Yeah. So thank you for watching. I want to hear from you. What is your guys' automation process look like? What does the onboarding look like? How does it work? How do you think it could be better? And how do you think I can make my own better? Love to hear it. So anyhow, if you liked the video, or if you enjoyed the video, then like the video and hit the subscribe. I look forward to the next one. Aesthetics rock. Cheers.